Hello, my dear students. So today I'm going to talk to you people with one of the chapters of Flamingo called Indigo. And before I start, I have some observation and that I want to share with you people that when it comes to teaching this chapter to students, I generally see that students, it's not that they do not feel interested and they feel bored, but this chapter is like a kind of history. It has got the history inclination, it has got that history touch with the chapter, and that's why. But I want to say that being an Indian, we all understand the role of Gandhiji in India's gaining the India's independence, right? He provided that kind of leadership. So all we know that, and this particular chapter, the Indigo, proved to be a turning point in Gandhiji's life. And after this, after giving justice to the sharecroppers against the British planters and landlords, Gandhiji's confidence in his way of fighting against the injustice got doubled. That was the truth and non-violence. And it was the same chapter for which Gandhiji took the initiation for the departure of British's bag and baggage from India. So that's why it's so important. So that's when I appeal that read this chapter. That's really important, and you need to understand Gandhiji, India's independence fighting, and all that. So that's a very good chapter that comes your way that help you understand that how Gandhiji, when he started his political career into India's independence. So this was that one of those the initial incident which gave him that confidence that finally he provided that kind of leadership which India needed, and we all got freedom under his leadership. Now, one more thing, it's always wise to know something more about the writer before we actually read something. So, this chapter is not a chapter, it's a biography, we all know. So, let us discuss something about the biographer, the author of the chapter. So, the author of the chapter is Louis Fisher. He was an American journalist. He was born in Philadelphia and he served as a volunteer in British Army. If we talk about his literary contributions, so among his works among his works was a contribution to the ex-communist treaty called The God That Failed, A Life on Gandhiji, and this book, Life on Gandhiji, was the basis for the Academy Award-winning movie called Gandhi, and then A Life on Lenin, which won him National Book Award in 1965 for history and biography. This Louis Fisher came to India in 1942 in the month of May when the Second World War was going on, and his total in India was for stay. His total stay in India was for 2 months, and of those 2 months, he spent 1 week of time visiting Gandhiji's Sevagram ashram in Gujarat. And he stayed with Gandhiji for 1 week, and Gandhiji spared 1 hour of time. Apart from that, Louis Fisher accompanied Gandhiji for his walk, and he had also talked while he had his meal. And this chapter is nothing. This chapter is just an interview, right? Which Gandhiji and Louis Fisher had at Sevagram in 1942 in Gujarat. Now, before we start going into the chapter, let us talk about the theme, kind of in a very brief. What is that chapter is about? So this chapter is in this chapter we see that Gandhiji's struggle for the underprivileged peasants of Champaran. They were the sharecroppers with the British landlords, and that time India, the Bihar had a kind of landlord system, which for which the conditions of the Indian peasants worsened. They lived a very wrecked life, and Gandhiji was there to fight against the injustice, and Gandhiji fought for the injustice, for all the injustice which was done to the sharecroppers, which was done to the peasants, the peasants, and as a result, the Indian sharecroppers, they become courageous and they were aware of the of their fundamental rights. Now, Gandhiji did not work only for gaining them that political and financial freedom, but Gandhiji also took up that social issues like education, sanitation, health, and taught them a very important lesson called self-reliance. If we talk about the chapter revolves around Gandhiji's struggle to safeguard the sharecroppers against the atrocities of British landlord. Now, having discussed something very brief into this, and one more last thing. The beautiful line of this chapter is the very last line of this chapter. The chapter ends with the final line, and that line I want to quote. That line says that self-reliance, India's independence, and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. Once again, I would like to repeat the line for you. That is, self-reliance, India's independence, and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. Now let us start the chapter. So the chapter, we see that it was the month of December 1916 when Gandhiji was at Lucknow to attend the annual convention of National Congress. And there Gandhiji met a very poor, illiterate, frail, emaciated farmer from Champaran called Rajkumar Shukla. That time Gandhiji did not know anything where that Champaran was there. But this was the time when Gandhiji was attending the annual convention of National Congress in December 1916, and there he met Rajkumar Shukla. Now Rajkumar Shukla started following Gandhiji everywhere, and it was not easy to get an appointment with Gandhiji. But then Gandhiji got impressed with the tenacity and with the resolute nature of called Rajkumar Shukla, and then Gandhiji finally agreed and committed and gave him a word that he would, after finishing his assignment, the important work which he had at different places, different parts of the country, he would certainly visit Champaran with Rajkumar Shukla. Gandhiji said that he had some work at Kanpur. Kanpur, there is a word called Kanpur in the book, but that Kanpur word is not a Kanpur, it's actually Kanpur. And then Gandhiji said that you meet me, at Calcutta on such and such date, and from there I would give you company, and I would certainly move with you to your Champaran. And as it was said by Gandhiji, so Rajkumar Shukla, we all know that he was very resolute. He had that great degree of tenacity in his nature. So he was at Kolkata waiting for Gandhiji, right? And from there, Gandhiji boarded the train for Patna. So this is the journey. Now we see that Gandhiji is coming to Champaran. In that way, Gandhiji boarded the train from Kolkata to Patna. Now here we need to understand that why Rajkumar Shukla was there and why did he want Gandhiji to come to Champaran. This we need to understand. So for this we need to understand that in Champaran the entire agricultural land was owned and controlled by the British landlords, and our Indian peasants, they were the sharecroppers. They did not have any piece of land. So they used to plow the land of British landlords as per certain agreement. Now what was that agreement? This we need to understand. The agreement was that in the total land which the sharecroppers were doing the agriculture, in that 15% part of the land, what percent? 15% part of the land, or 3/20th part of the land, the sharecroppers, they had to grow indigo, and the entire harvest they had to surrender, they had to give to the British landlords as rent. This was the agreement. You need to understand. Again, I won't repeat that agreement. What was that agreement? Agreement was that in 15% part of the land, or 3/20th% part of the land, Indian sharecroppers had to grow indigo, and the entire indigo crop, the Indian sharecroppers, they had to give to the British landlords as rent. Now, after some time, what happened? This was the practice they had been following for a long time. But after some time, this German people, they invented synthetic indigo. And since German people invented synthetic indigo, that means the Britishers were not in need of any natural indigo, and that's why they exempted Indian sharecroppers from growing indigo. But in return of exempting from growing the indigo, the British landlord, they charge a heavy amount of money. Now some of the farmers, they willingly gave that amount of money. Some of the farmers, sharecroppers, they protested. But how could they protest against the British? They were so strong and so powerful, and that's why they hired some thugs and got them beaten. And the Indian sharecroppers, they were not that much strong enough that they could fight their case going to the court. And after some time, the sharecroppers, they came to know that is all because of the invention of synthetic indigo by the German people. And then here they started asking back their money. But do you think that British landlords, they were so magnanimous, they were so generous that they would get the money? No. And for the same reason, somebody told Rajkumar Shukla that there somebody from the Congress National Party that time could help you. And I want to tell you here one more thing, that that time it was not in the mind of Rajkumar Shukla that he would go and meet Gandhiji. But when he was in Lucknow, somebody told him that Gandhiji was the right person, he could help you, and that is how he started following Gandhiji. Now we see, now let us come back to this point. So we see here that Rajkumar Shukla and Gandhiji boarded the train from Kolkata to Patna. And Gandhiji already had written in beforehand a letter to that Rajendra Prasad, and we all know that Rajendra Prasad was the first president of India in beforehand that he was coming. But when Gandhiji Rajkumar Shukla reached Patna, so Rajendra Prasad was not in town. So Gandhiji had to stay at Rajendra Prasad's house. But the servant of Gandhiji, the servant of Rajendra Prasad took Rajkumar Shukla and Gandhiji also took Gandhiji as a sharecropper, and they were made to sleep on the ground at night. And the next day, Gandhiji was not allowed to take water from he was not even allowed to take water from pond, from the well, because nobody knew that he was not an untouchable. And from there, Gandhiji took a train. He went to Muzaffarpur. We went to Muzaffarpur, and Gandhiji, before going to Muzaffarpur, he had already written something in advance to Kriplani, and that's why when Gandhiji reached Muzaffarpur at night, so Kriplani was there at station waiting for Gandhiji with a huge number of followers. Now Gandhiji stayed there at Muzaffarpur. He met Kriplani, and who was Kriplani, and how did Gandhiji come in contact with Kriplani? So Gandhiji met to Kriplani for the first time at Tagore Shanti Niketan. We know that Tagore has an university that's very unique in his ways at Shanti Niketan. So Gandhiji met Kriplani at Shanti Niketan. And there is one more, and Kriplani, who was Kriplani? He was a professor in one of the college. And there at Muzaffarpur, Gandhiji stayed at at a house of Malkani. Who was that Malkani? Malkani was a school teacher, and it was Gandhiji praised Malkani because it was not easy to show respect for an advocate of home rule like Gandhiji. And staying there, Gandhiji collected some information he gathered some information about the sharecroppers and into their grievances. And there, Gandhiji staying there, he consulted some of the lawyers, and Gandhiji also scolded the lawyers there for charging extra amount of money for fighting the cases of sharecroppers. Now Gandhiji went to the secretary of the secretary of British Land Association, and he wanted to know more something about into the conditions of the sharecroppers. But the secretary of the British Land Association, he called that we cannot give any information to an outsider, and he did not give any information to go outsider. But then Gandhiji said that I'm not an outsider, and then Gandhiji went to meet the commissioner of Tirhut division, and the same thing, the commissioner of Tirhut division, even he denied to give any information, and he asked Gandhiji to leave Champaran, Muzaffarpur, that place immediately. But Gandhiji denied, and he went on to Motihari, that is the district of Champaran. Now once the people of Champaran, Motihari, came to know that somebody came in their support, so huge number people came from far off distance to meet their champions. And there we see, staying at Motihari, Gandhiji heard that a farmer in the local area was maltreated. So Gandhiji went to see that farmer who was badly treated, riding on an elephant. But on the way, Gandhiji was stopped by one of the messengers of the superintendent, and he took Gandhiji back on his carriage, and he brought back Gandhiji at his place, and he gave him a notice to sign. And Gandhiji refused to. He signed on it, but then Gandhiji refused to leave that place. And here we need to understand that Gandhiji, by breaking the law, he did not wanted to give a bad example. But then Gandhiji had to serve the larger cause of humanity, and for that reason he had to disobey the law. The next day, Gandhiji received a summons, and he had to appear in a court. And when all other people came to know that their champion, the person Gandhiji who came to help them, he was in a kind of trouble. So in huge multitude and a crowd, people came from all around, and seeing this huge number of people, the local authority, they got puzzled, and they had to take the help of Gandhiji to manage that huge number of crowd. Now that Gandhiji was summoned and a trial was to be trial and the trial was to be tried for Gandhiji. But seeing this huge amount, this people, they thought of consulting their superiors and the seniors. They thought of consulting their seniors, and for that, that Gandhiji's trial was adjourned. It was put on hold for some time, and then Gandhiji was asked to furnish bail for 120 minutes, for which Gandhiji denied, and later on even Gandhiji was left to stay free, and later on his case was dropped. Now, since Gandhiji's case was dropped, and after that we see that Gandhiji started talking about and Gandhiji also had made a plan that in case Gandhiji got arrested, so all other local the leaders, the Rajendra Prasad and other the prominent leaders, they said that if in case Gandhiji got arrested, even they would also follow him to the jail. So, but at last we see that the case against the Gandhiji was dropped, and he was allowed to free in that Champaran Motihari place. Now we see a commission was appointed, and that commission would decide whether what amount was to be refunded back to the sharecroppers. And in that commission, everybody was of the Britishers, and it was being headed by the Lieutenant Governor Edward Gate, and Gandhiji was the only sole representative from the Indian sharecroppers. And when the commission started working, so initially the commission thought that the Gandhiji would ask for the 100% refund of the money, but Gandhiji asked for 50% in the beginning. But even that 50%, the British landlords were not ready to refund, and there was for some time it was seen that there was no improvement in the case, and there was a deadlock of situation. And finally, Gandhiji asked for 25%. Here, dear students, here I need to understand that why did Gandhiji decide to take only 25%? So Gandhiji decided to take 25% because Gandhiji thought that even when they were returning 25%, it was a kind of their defeat. And it was for the first time that the Britishers landlords, they were on their they were bent on their knees, and Gandhiji understood that even when they were returning 25%, it was a kind of their defeat. And in the coming future, they would leave that entire state of Motihari and Champaran, and the entire land would be given back to this sharecroppers, and the same thing happened. So here you need to understand that Gandhiji decided, he got agreed to take 25% to break the deadlock, and Gandhiji promised that even when they were returning 25%, it was their defeat. Now this political problem was solved of sharecroppers, indigo problem was solved, the economic problem was solved. Then Gandhiji started taking up the social issues. What were the social issues? The social issues were Gandhiji started looking in the health, the education and the sanitation, and wanted to teach them the lesson of self-reliance. Gandhiji opened schools in the six villages of that area, and for that reason Gandhiji called some of his followers. Gandhiji's youngest son also came, and Kasturba Madam also came, and some of the people also followed from the different parts of the country. And there is a particular way of Gandhiji's way of ashram, that all the people living in the ashram would do all their work, they would do themselves. So nothing would be coming from outside. So that was the very principle on what that Gandhiji's ashram worked. And then Gandhiji also started looking for the sanitation, that some of the toilets, the latrine, which the ditches, the tank got filled. So Gandhiji asked for digging out the new tanks so that it would not spread a kind of, some disease and outbreak of some disease and all that. And Gandhiji distributed, 3 medicines. One was that quinine for the malaria, and sulfur oil and ointment. Gandhiji distributed 3 medicines. So quinine for malaria, and sulfur oil and ointment. And Gandhiji asked Madam Kasturba to interact with the local villagers and the women, and to give them the confidence and the values of cleanliness and all that. And at one place, that like there was a missionary, and his name was Andrew. He wanted to join the Gandhiji's ashram, and other people were very happy to get Andrew into the ashram, but Gandhiji scolded them. Gandhiji told them that, our fight is against Britishers, so how can we take some person from the British native and origin? So it shows that we do not believe in our own capabilities, and here by refusing that entry of Andrew into that ashram, Gandhiji taught them a lesson of self-reliance. And as I have already repeated the final line of the chapter, that I want to repeat, that self-reliance, India's independence, and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. So that's my dear student, that's a beautiful chapter talking a lot about Gandhiji's, and it's also talk a lot about India's independence. So please read this, listen to this. Almost I have not left anything of this chapter which is given in the chapter. I have included almost all important 80% part of the chapter. Listen to it, read the textbook, you will understand and you will thoroughly enjoy it. Thank you. God bless you.